Hi everyone, this is Traci for Cardstock Warehouse, and today I'm going to walk you through how to make a tag album. I made this one out of Paver Red. It is a 5x5 tag album. It has 12 pages, including the front and the back cover. And the hinges are pretty deep, so you can embellish this with chipboard or other embellishments. So I'm going to walk you through making one of these. Here's one I made in forest green, and you can see I used a lot of chipboard and stickers, great for photographs or just to display your pretty patterned paper on our gorgeous cardstock. So today I'll be making one using our Star Dream Silver Metallic paper, which is 105 pounds, and I'm going to walk you through that process. I started by loading up on our blog a cut file you can use in your Cricut. And what we're going to do first is cut 12 of the gray or silver tags for us to use in our project. So I cut 12 of those, and then I cut the 3 hinges that are also in the project file. I'm going to give you the measurements in case you want to create these by yourself. The first one is 3 1/4 by 3. The second one is 2 3/4 by 3. And the last one is 2 1/4 by 3. So you could actually just cut these rectangles of paper and then score 1 inch on both the right and left side for each of these hinges. And that's what the scoring wheel is doing. In your Cricut, again, you could do that. If you don't have a Cricut also, you could just cut your own tags using dies, or you can go ahead and just cut 5x5 squares of paper and do this project along with us. I also included in the file a orange tag that you could use to cut your pattern paper if you wanted to decorate your album. So that's an option. I'm not going to show that here, but it's in that file. So again, starting with our silver tags. We're going to start with our hinges. You're going to take the largest of the 3 hinges, again, the 3 1/4 by 3, and you're going to fold down on each of those 1 inch margins. Next, we're going to affix this hinge to our right side of our tag. And we need to put this hinge in the same place on each of the tags so our album lines up and stands up nicely. So I'm going to use my grid paper, and I'm aligning my tag at the bottom of that grid paper, and I'm going to pick a line for me to go ahead and adhere the hinge. So I'm lining it up, and I think I'm going to use that line there. So I'm going to grab my score tape and apply a piece of score tape to one of the hinges. And I probably should have used bigger score tape, but this is what I had out. And then we're going to go ahead and remove the backing on that score tape. Oh, good. You can see my forest green paper that I was using earlier is on my score tape. We're going to line that up. Make sure it's straight, and then secure that hinge to the tag. And that's going to be our front cover. What we want to do now is hide those hinges. They're ugly, right? So here's our front cover. Here's going to be our page 2, right? Page 1's our front, page 2. So what we're going to do is grab another tag, and we're going to lay that directly on top of the first tag. Again, hiding those hinges. So I'm going to use the score tape for the hinge, just like I did. And I'm going to use glue for the rest of the tag, only because it gives me more leeway to line it up, and I'm not really good at lining things up. Told you, world's messiest crafter here. Just a little glue. And then adhering that tag directly on top of the other tag. And that becomes, get that straight, our page 1, or our cover, and our page 2. And we're going to do the exact same thing with the other hinge. We're going to flip it over and work on the back. We're going to put score tape on the hinge. And then we're going to take another tag and adhere it. Again, you want to make sure that you're lining up your tags. So I'm going to use my grid. Let's get the score tape off. Lining up my tag on my grid, grabbing another tag. And adhering it down. Once I line it up, appropriately. This is always hard for me. And so now we have page 1, 2, and our back page 12, but we need to cover up that hinge again. So same thing, exact same process. Score tape, grab some glue, and adhere a tag directly on top of it, making sure everything lines up nice and neat. There we go. Little bone folder there, little bone folder action. And now we have, again, page 1, page 2, page 11, and page 12. And I'm going to put this aside and we're going to repeat this exact process with the other 2 hinges. So I'm probably going to speed up this video, but just again showing you that we're just scoring on those 1-inch margins and doing the exact same process. So again, repeating this process with the second hinge. You can use your first set of hinges to line up that centerpiece to make sure everything's centered perfectly. And just the same process, doing the front and the back for each of those tags so we don't see those ugly hinges. Just applying glue right on top. Making sure, again, those bottoms are aligned. That's our second one, and just doing the same exact thing again with the third one. Using that to line it up makes it a lot easier. Again, just finishing up that last hinge system with the front and the back page, and then the same thing on the other side. And now you can see we have 3, we'll call them hinge page combos, 1 big, 1 medium, 1 little. And now we're gonna put our book together. And just to make sure we're working with the right hinges, right? Large, medium, and small. We're gonna start with the large and the medium. You're gonna open the large hinged, and you're gonna apply it to you're gonna apply the medium hinge to the large hinge. And we're gonna do that aligning those bottoms of the hinges. We're gonna apply some score tape on the medium hinge. Make sure it's stuck down real good with our bone folder there. Remove the backing, and then we're gonna attach the medium hinge to the center of the large hinge, again, lining up the bottom of the hinges. The height of the hinges is all 3 inches, so they should all line up perfectly. Here we go. All right. And I'm going to be careful because, again, not the best person to align things up. Taking my time. And then just using my bone folder to make sure that's well adhered. Now we have our pages 1, 2, 3, 4, and our back 9, 10, 11, 12. Taking the smallest hinge now, same process, applying score tape just on the hinge. So you want to make sure you have small score tape. Making sure that's adhered well, removing the backing. And you want to take the small hinge and line it up in the center of the medium hinge with, again, the bottoms of the hinges being aligned. And using a bone folder to make sure that's tightly adhered. And then we have our 12-page book, or 6 pages front and back. So 12 different pages you can decorate, including the front and back cover. And here's one that I did decorate, right? Great places for pictures. I went ahead and decorated this after I built it. So you could go ahead and decorate after or before. Again, it doesn't matter. Here's a great time to decorate. If you want to use that orange tag for your pattern papers in that file, you could go ahead and grab it. You want to make sure you decorate before you put on your eyelets. You can't put them on before, or if you have paper covering it, it's not going to work. So I'm going to grab, these are 5mm eyelets, and I'll link to what they are. They're just from Amazon. They're red eyelets for Christmas. And I'm just going to hot one on. These are the backs. I have my trusty crocodile. I think it's I guess an eyelet fastener. And then putting that on the back and grab my trusty tool. You could also just use a grommet setting tool. That should work too. And just squeezing down. Boom. And now I've set the eyelet, and you're going to go ahead and do the other eyelets as well. I would just say on the back page, maybe you want it facing out so the red's pretty on the front and the back cover. But of course, your own way. I had on hand some green twine, so that's what I used, but some pretty thin ribbon would also really be pretty with these albums. Just going to put that through and loop a knot. And then you're going to want to put eyelets on the rest of the pages. Now again, just super great to decorate, put pictures on. Here's again the one I decorated, but I also did some stamping on some of the Star Dream paper and spraying with some Distress Oxide. So that might be a really cute idea. Just use your leftover stamps in your paper. Love to see what you make. Show us. See you soon.